It's time. It's time to set up a new planner for a new homeschool year. Let's do this. First of all, a little bit of housekeeping. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaela. I'm a second generation homeschool mom to 4 girls, and I love chatting all things homeschool and mama life on this channel. But there's no time for chatting today because we're setting up a new planner and I have got my eyes on the prize. I am so ready to do this. I have my washi tapes ready, my stickers ready. I have my matcha ready to go. I'm ready to get in the zone and set up this beautiful, gorgeous SchoolNest planner. So let's flip this camera around and let's get into it. Grab your beverage, grab your snack, and let's set this planner up. So this year, I am sticking with my tried and true. I went with another planner from SchoolNest. I use this planner for everything. So it's my life planner, it's my homeschool planner, it's my family event planner, it's all the things, and I love everything about it. This is the planner that I am finishing up from the previous year. Both of these planners are 12 months, 52 weeks undated. This is a new cover design that was released in 2025 by Megan from SchoolNest. Now, Megan has really grown her business. Before this year, she was solely reliant on Amazon to print and distribute her planner designs. And now she actually has a storefront where she is printing and binding planners. She's also creating lots of different fun and beautiful stationery products all in-house that you can order directly from her. I think that is so fantastic, and I love that now we have the option to use products from SchoolNest while supporting her small family business. If you are trying to limit or avoid your purchases from Amazon, now you have the option to do so. So that is awesome. For me personally, I like the Amazon book binding. And as of the time that I ordered this, Megan was only offering her in-house planner designs with a spiral bind. I wasn't really sure if I would be comfortable writing with the spiral bind. I probably would have. And in retrospect, I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't order one of the in-house planners directly from her, because I know the paper quality is a lot better. Her attention to detail is going to be a lot better. It's going to give you a lot more of a consistent product. However, this time around, the spiral bound just made me kind of nervous, and I really do like my perfect book binding. It just holds up really well. It looks pretty on a shelf. It's comfortable to write in. It wears in really nicely. So I went ahead and purchased my planner through Amazon. Just like last year, all of my SchoolNest planners thus far have been through Amazon. And also just like last year, I am again using the Minimalist homeschool planning notebook. The Minimalist version, as the name implies, is slightly more streamlined and has less pages than her original version. I find that with the chunkier version, I end up really not needing and not using a lot of the pages. So the Minimalist is definitely the way to go for me. If you want to see a really detailed rundown of all of the SchoolNest planners, all of her offerings, what the differences are between the different versions, the different cover styles, the different page layouts and fonts, and all the things, I highly recommend going to Arlene and Company. Head over to her channel. She has the definitive rundown of all the SchoolNest planners. And I will link her down below. And if I can find the specific video that's most recent where she goes into all the planners, I'll also put that down below. So let's talk about some differences. Up until this year, all of the SchoolNest planners that I have ordered from Amazon have had a similar feel to them. It's almost like a suede feel. It's very soft and kind of grippy, almost like a silicone feel on the cover. This is the first time that I've gotten a very different cover through the Amazon version. This is not grippy, not silicone-y. It's still very matte, but it has a little bit more of a smooth and slick texture to it. I've already tested wiping them with like a damp cloth. I actually use a baby wipe pretty frequently because I always have baby wipes around. That's the season of life that I'm in. And both of them held up very well to a little damp wipe. So that is a relief because I know that I'll be doing that several times throughout the year. This is, I want to say, the Green Mystic cover, and she still has this cover available on her website and on Amazon. So if you like this, it's definitely still an option for you. I love that her planners are undated, so you really have total freedom as far as what cover you want to use on any given year. This new cover release, I think, is called Paper Flowers, and it's quite beautiful. I absolutely love peach. In case you can't tell, it's my all-time favorite color. So when I saw this cover release, I was like, oh, that's the one. I have to have it. It's just stunning. There's obviously some font differences. There's also going to just be like some art differences. The new releases are going to have our little buddy here, the little snail mascot for SchoolNest. The Mystic version had a lot more graphic art in it, black and white graphic art. There is no additional art or graphics. I do really love the font choices in this particular design. If you look at the table of contents here, let me see how I can do this. I'll move the Mystic this way. They're going to be very, very similar. So here we have blank grid pages. This gives you additional blank pages that she calls the vision board 2-page spread. So you have a vision board 2-page spread, and then you have additional blank grid pages, which is what this starts with. And you can see that there is some artwork on the blank grid pages in this version. I added those stickers. And by the way, if you want to see a video of me setting up this planner from last year, I'll have that linked below too. They both have a 1-year calendar overview. They both have a page for field trips. This one says events and field trips. So this is from last year. This was the calendar page. This was the field trips page. I covered up field trips because I use it for a different purpose. And let's check it out in the new one. Yeah, so it's very, very similar. You have your blank calendar page with boxes for each month, and then you have for field trips and events. The grid lining on my previous version is all pretty much the same, whereas on this new version, the calendar grid is bolder and the field trips and events grid is fainter, which would allow you to write more in these boxes as opposed to the calendar boxes where assuming you're just putting dates in there. This one has an additional blank page for passwords or schedule or what have you. This one has a specific attendance tracker, whereas this one says it has 2 vertical 12-month trackers. Yeah, so my previous one, it actually says attendance at the top. This one has 2 identical pages instead of just 1, and it simply says daily tracker at the top. So you could use these for attendance, you could use these for some other habit that you want to keep track of on a daily basis. This is in slightly different order, but this older version calls it Curriculum Progress Tracker. And this newer version says 6 horizontal 180-day progress trackers. So this is what that looked like in my previous planner. It would say curriculum progress, and then you were given these 180-day boxes where you could track progress in specific curricula. And then in the newer version, pretty similar. It says progress tracker instead of curriculum tracker, but it's the same layout as far as 180 days. There are less of them in this newer one. There are only 6, only a 2-page spread, whereas in my older one, I had 18. So I had 3 2-page spreads of 6. So that'll be interesting because I do use these. So they've swapped identical numbered trackers with this 2-page spread of blanks, but this has the exact same number of squares as these with 180 days. So if I wanted to, I could number these and still use them just like the curriculum progress trackers from last year. And that would give me 12, not quite 18. Okay, 16 lists and plans organizers. So in the Mystic version, these pages were called Curriculum Overview, and they each would have 4 sections with these little ribbon labels where you could plan out curriculum for each child or for each subject. As you can see, I did end up with some blank ones, but I do use these. In this newer version, it's no longer called Curriculum Overview, it's called Lists and Plans. And then she offers a suggestion here: organize lists of seasonal studies, curriculum by subject, activities each quarter, etc. So it's a little bit more open-ended. And then the other introductory pages are the book list pages. I think those are pretty much the same. You're going to have a grid background, a very faint, subtle grid background, divided into 2 columns. It says book list at the top, just like the other version that I used last year. And then you have some graphic shelf art at the bottom, which is very cute. And let's see, you have 4 pages of this. And in last year, I had some graphic art at the bottom, not quite as cute because I liked the addition of the lamp and the flowers, but this was still fun. Same thing, grid background, 2 columns, and I think I had slightly more. Yeah, I did. I had 6 instead of 4, but look at that. I didn't really utilize the last 2, so maybe that will work out. So after the introductory pages, then you get into your monthly spreads. And in both of these planners, all of the months are together up front, and then your weeks are behind the month section. So you get 12 months that look just like this. They are numbered down here. You have a grid background with a nice margin for notes or lists. It says month of, and we have a very faint shadow of a line here where you could put the name of the month. And then after the month, you're going to have this 2-page spread titled Plan and Reflect. We have 1 through 31 here numbered if you wanted to write down certain tasks for each day of the month, or maybe you want to use this for a different type of list altogether. She has that there for you. And then the rest is just really open and clean. And that just repeats. So now we have month 2, plan and reflect. Month 3, plan and reflect, and so on for 12 months. And then I'll just show you what that looked like in my planner from last year. So these months were also pretty clean. They had a dot grid background only on the margin, nothing in the actual month squares. So that's a little bit different because now we have a grid background in the month squares. Also, this margin section did have a label. It says notes. And then after each month, it had a 2-page spread called Month in Review. I never use these as month in review pages. I usually use these for notes. Actually, you can kind of tell. I use these for curriculum review notes to kind of keep track of videos that I'm working on in that given month. I think that if you're like a bullet journal type person or you want to do scrapbook pages, these are awesome for that. I am just not that person. So I have a lot of these that are blank. And they do have some cute graphics, leaves and moons and all sorts of things. Whereas in the new version, they are clean and blank. And instead of month in review, it says plan and reflect. After your 12 months, you will get to your weeks. And each week is going to start just like this. You're going to have weekly overview with these boxes on the side. You're going to have a daily tracker section over here. And then down at the bottom, this is an addition that I really like. We have 1 through 52. You can circle what school week you are on. I really like that. I usually write it, so this will save me some writing. After your weekly overview spread, you jump right in to your weekly plan. You have all of our months here, so you can circle what month you're in, and you can circle your dates or date range, and then you have a spot where you can fill out the year here. The 20 is already filled for you. And then here we have a 6x6 grid. So we have 6 going across horizontally, and we have 6 vertical rows. All of this is unlabeled, so you can decide what layout you prefer. If you like a horizontal layout, if you like a vertical, more of a list layout for each of your days, if you want to label these as different subject areas, or maybe different kiddos, you can totally do that. One of the additions that I really like is the fact that she carried the labels over onto the second page of the spread. So let me show you how this is different from the version I used last year. And I'll try to find a blank spread. Okay, so going back to the weekly overview page, this is what that looked like in my planner from last year. The 7 boxes is the same, except these were labeled under schedule and for each weekday, whereas these boxes are blank and on the opposite side. We did not have a daily tracker on this weekly overview page where we do on the new version. We also didn't have the school week tracker like I mentioned earlier. And then another section was we had this checkbox list section called weekly goals and notes, and it was right next to the schedule. We don't have that here, but we do have that grid background that would make it relatively simple to create your own checkboxes and your own list section if you would like. I actually use this every single week, so this is probably going to be the one thing that I miss. I'll show you an example here. I usually use this for chores and for errands that I'm trying to get done on any given week. Maybe I'll utilize these boxes for that instead, since I didn't really get a lot of use out of the schedule labeling in the previous one. Since I have my schedule on my weekly plan, I know some people like to have both. For me, it was a little bit redundant. Sometimes I'd use this and sometimes I wouldn't. So maybe this will become my chores and errands, and I'll designate by day. I don't know. I could also implement this daily tracker for chores that are getting done daily. And then going back to the weekly plan page. So this had a bold black header, which is not in this one. We're definitely getting a lot more in this newer version. We didn't have a way to track dates, and you'll notice no labels on the second page, just on the first on the far left. The faint dot lines that go across each box, pretty identical. I think she squeezed in more lines that are slightly closer together than these. Another difference that I just noticed is this newer version has 6 rows, so it's a 6x6 grid, whereas the older version, the Mystic version, is actually 6x7. If you can see that. So in the new paper flowers version, you're getting less boxes, but they are a bit bigger, and there's more writing space for you in each of those boxes. For the most part, very, very similar. Now, on last year's planner, I did opt to use tabs for all of my month pages. I purchased these on Amazon. I will have everything that I have ever used for all of my homeschool planners that's still available. I'll have it linked down below. This was my first time adding monthly tabs to the SchoolNest planner. They held up pretty well. They're definitely not perfect. They were a bargain. They're probably not like the most durable monthly tabs on the market, but they're also not expensive. So I think that they worked well. I'm relatively pleased with how they held up. I'm going to be setting this planner up differently. I'm going to be putting washi tape along the edges of all of my monthly pages. This is something I've done before in a previous SchoolNest planner. It was so adorable. I absolutely loved the way it looked. However, it wasn't very practical on a day-to-day basis for me to reach in and find a particular month that I wanted to reference. It was a little bit challenging to remember what washi tape was for what month. Even though I made myself a table of contents in the front, I didn't look at the table of contents. I would just end up like thumbing through until I found the month I was looking for. When I did that on the previous planner, I was using patterned washi tape. And when they were all clumped together, it looked beautiful, almost like a quilt or mosaic of all these patterns, but it was almost impossible for me to distinguish between them. So what I'm going to try this year is I'm actually going to be using some solid colored washi tape for my months. You can see I have all of these gorgeous colors ready to go. I already have them arranged in the order that I would like, and I'm hoping that this will be a little bit easier for me to remember. Once I'm in a month, I'll know like, okay, I'm in the middle green month, or I'm in the orange month, or whatever. We shall see, and I will report back how that ends up working out. So between each of the colored edges is a white edge because I just put the tape to the right of the month spread, and then I skipped this second plan and reflect spread edge and then repeated. So it almost gives like this really fun stripe effect when you look at it like this. I kind of selected colors based on temperature and mood. I used my cooler colors for those winter months, and then we start to warm up again, spring, early summer. It's fun. It's really fun. I'm really happy with it. You don't really see it from the front, and I'm hoping that the colors, the solid colors, will be a little bit easier for me to remember and go back to. I also bought these date dot stickers specifically to go with this planner. I thought they matched really nicely. I don't know if you can see it because it's very faint, but there is a little square cutout within the grid background that is meant for the date. So rather than writing those out, I always use stickers. I just find that it's a lot more fun and a lot easier on my hands. Look at these colors. They're so perfect. So pretty. Oh, this is a super cute font too. I really like that. But these are smaller, so those might be better for my calendar page up in the front. Yeah, those will probably fit nicely for that. I'll stick that in there and come back to it. I do have a school year calendar already printed out so that I can know what days of the week fall on which dates. And then this will help me in the next step of planning to actually plan out our year when we're taking breaks and all of that. That'll be in another video, but for now, let's get these filled out. definitely not perfect. Made a couple mistakes. Could have maybe done some of this a little bit neater, but it will serve my purpose just fine. I can use this page to track our school weeks and our break weeks. And then this is where I'm going to track our units or particular areas of study for our group subjects per month. And I like that I was able to use some of my scraps for the washi tape. And we have this spread for a vision board. I'm going to be honest, I am not a vision board type of gal. I've never made a vision board before, even though I do have a very clear idea of why we homeschool and what our goals are for any particular grade level or any particular school year. I don't ever really display those things in an aesthetic way. And I was challenged by this spread, and part of me thought, I'm just going to leave it blank, or I'm going to put something else in here, which really means that I'll never get around to it and it will stay blank. But then I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not give myself a really pretty spread that I can refer back to throughout the year? I think it will actually be something that I enjoy. I've already got my little snail friend down here. This is actually my own drawing. My 11-year-old has been obsessed with making handmade and hand-drawn stickers, and she taught me how to do that. I made this with her. So this is my own drawing that has been encapsulated with some tape and is now a little sticker friend. So that was the first thing that I went ahead and put on this page, even before I knew what I was going to do with it. I love this. It's very cute. Makes me happy. I have a couple of other handmade stickers that my daughter gave me. I think she drew this one and printed or cut out this one. And then I also took the time, for the very first time in my years of homeschooling, to compose a homeschool mission statement and just put it on a pretty background. I did this in Canva. I looked at some examples of homeschool mission statements online, on some blogs, on some YouTube videos, on Pinterest. I took inspiration from a few different ones that I saw and then wrote this and tweaked it. I also found a lot of really cute clip art and also kind of made some clip art on Canva. So like these pretty books, this was just a clip art collection on Canva. I found this really pretty like watercolor map and a watercolor globe. I added some text onto the map. Since we are doing world geography, I thought those really fit for our year. This was clip art on Canva. This was clip art from Canva that I added text to kind of make my own little graphic. This was clip art on Canva. This was something that I created on Canva. The little board tray is its own clip art. The little sushi with chopsticks is its own clip art. I combined them and then added "Just Keep Rolling." I think that's super cute. I'm really happy with how that turned out. This was another one from Canva that was already in existence. I did use AI to make this cute image of my girls homeschooling. And then I also found some clip art on Canva that's just the first letter, first initial of all of our names, all of my family members' names. So yeah, lots of cute things, motivational, positive, some of the themes that I want us to carry through this year, but also every year, are represented here. So I'm going to attempt to put this all together and make it cute. I think I'm really going to love this year. Just being able to flip back to this, to remember our mission, our why, when frustration or burnout starts to set in, when we're facing challenges and obstacles, which of course happens in homeschooling and in life, which then directly affects homeschooling. This is going to be just a beautiful visual reminder for me, and I think it will be really encouraging and motivational. I love the way it turned out. I'm really glad that I decided to try this out. This might be my favorite thing that I've ever done in a planner, ever. I love it. It's so cute. I think I'm going to use these blank notes pages for curriculum notes throughout the year as I see things that might potentially be good fits for the following year, which will be, goodness, 7th grade and 4th grade. This is going to be a great spot to organize that. If I think of something else to use this for, so be it, but that's kind of what I'm envisioning. I have my calendar pages set up. These will be for attendance. I might end up using one for each kiddo, or I'm not sure if I'll track something else besides attendance. Progress trackers, I need to figure out how I'm going to set those up still. I have our group subject plans and resources, and then I have a curriculum plans and resource page for each of my girls. Book list pages will be filled out throughout the year. I have all of my month pages set up. So we are ready to go. We are ready to actually start planning our year overview and then the first few weeks, the first term of homeschool. Now at the back here, we have a few of these reflect on the year pages. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 reflect on the year. These pages are a little bit different than the pages in my previous planner because instead of reflect on the year, this had end of the year wrap up, what went well, end of the year wrap up, focus for next year, which clearly I got a lot of use out of. And then it had curriculum reflections, what worked and what didn't, and curriculum plans for next year. The curriculum plans page was actually the only page out of all of those that I used. So I'm thinking that will probably be the case again. I'm not going to worry about changing these titles for right now or like putting tape over them or anything. I'm just going to see what I decide to use these for as the year progresses. There's a lot of time between now and the end of the homeschool year, so who knows what these will end up becoming, but it sure is nice to have a lot of space to jot down notes and potentially curriculum plans for the following year. You're all set up and ready to dive in. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's always so much fun to set up a new planner and to make these videos and share the process with y'all. If you love these types of videos, homeschool planning, homeschool prepping, organizing, getting all of the things ready for the new school year, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn notifications on. That is going to be the main focus of several videos on my channel over the next few weeks as I dive in and get everything ready for our new school year. I'm so excited. Thanks for coming along, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye for now, and happy homeschooling.